If you're emotionally healthy, you know how to understand, identify, and release your emotions. I'm Nicholeen Peck. I'm a communications expert, and I teach parenting and self-government all over the world. And in this video, we are going to be discussing your emotions and what you can do to better understand, identify, and release them in productive ways. As I talk to people around the world about self-government, which basically is self-mastery, it's being able to identify and regulate your emotions, to decide when it's the best time to share the emotions and when it's best to think about the emotions and share other thoughts instead. So people often wonder, does she really understand emotions? Oh yes, absolutely. In fact, I am a very emotional person. There used to be a time when I did not release my emotions in ways that were productive, though. In fact, I damaged multiple relationships because I didn't know how to manage my own emotions. I didn't understand what was really going on inside of me. I didn't have what many people call emotional intelligence. When I was 14, there was a pivotal moment that happened in my life. I didn't get along with my parents. I was releasing my emotions on them all the time. And they were power struggling with me and releasing their emotions on me too. It was a bad situation, but I had a great neighbor and mentor who asked me a question one day that changed my life. She said, "Nicholeen, have you ever thought of just saying okay?" And I thought, what? That would never work. That's what they want me to say. She challenged me. She said, "Nicholeen, you go home and every time your parents tell you not to do something or to do something, then say okay and be okay." I want you to think to yourself, which one of those is harder? Definitely be okay is harder because it requires doing something different with your emotions than you have previously been doing. Well, I wanted to prove to her that even if I did this, my parents wouldn't change the way they treated me. So I went home and I changed my behavior. I decided to follow their instructions, to say okay and be okay. I decided to accept their no answers, to say okay and to be okay. And something happened. There was one day I was cleaning my room. I know, it was a miraculous thing, especially because I hadn't cleaned my room for months. But my mother had given me instruction, and I decided to say okay and be okay. As I was in my room picking up things, all of a sudden this thought came to my mind. It was a thought kind of like my voice, but a little bit deeper. Kind of reminded me of like the old Wizard of Oz movie, you know, when it's "I am Oz." But this voice said, "I am so powerful." And I went, that's true. I am so powerful. I am choosing to be happy. I am choosing to just say okay and be okay. I am choosing not to allow anything to bother me that used to bother me. I'm choosing not to power struggle. I am so powerful. Until that moment, I didn't recognize that I had the power to release my emotions how and when I wanted to. This was a crucial step in my transformation that turned me into the person I am today. The person who's known for her calmness and for her understanding of emotions and the way people behave and communicate with each other. This was the beginning for me. This experience started me on a process that would never end. The process was doing upfront work to solve my future problems. My neighbor had wisdom. She obviously had conquered her own issues from time to time. And so she asked me a question, "Have you ever thought of just saying okay?" And that led me to analyze more things about myself. Things I hadn't analyzed before. So, during this time of saying okay and being okay, I was doing some upfront work that would pave the way for me to say okay and be okay for the rest of my life. So the first thing a person should do if they want to understand, identify, and release their emotions is do the upfront work. Analyze yourself. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And be completely honest That's important. You're not doing it because someone made you. You're not doing it because someone else is mean or unkind to you. You're doing it because you're choosing to do it. You're doing it because you're thinking this certain thought every single time and you need a new thought. That's why you're doing it. Those were the types of realizations that I had. Wait, I'm choosing to be happy. I'm choosing to say okay and be okay. I've never done that before. And I picked it. Just because I put the new idea in my head. That didn't mean that I loved cleaning my room all of a sudden, or loved doing chores, or enjoyed missing parties. It just meant that I was choosing to be okay no matter what happened. And I had already predetermined ahead of time to do that. So that's what I mean by the upfront work. Analyze, what is it that you're feeling? What are those emotions that keep coming to you? Do they need to be talked about with somebody? Or are they just getting in the way? Are they presenting to you ideas that you're going to process on that are going to lead you to disconnect from others, to feel angry and selfish? Are they productive emotions or not? So that's step number 2. Be honest. Are they productive or not? So after you list from a recent experience what you felt, what emotions you expressed, then out to the side of those emotions, write down productive or not productive. Productive means that everyone felt more understood, more connected, more bonded. Not productive means you felt disconnected from another person. You felt weaker for a minute. You felt you had to fight with the other person or power struggle against the other person. You felt like you had to try to control somebody else. Those are all not productive. So make that list for yourself as well. This one moment of self-government that I have shared with you literally transformed my life. Before I move on to my next points, I just want to make sure that you know where you can find more information about self-government, because truly the principle of self-government and the skills of self-government are transformational. So my website is teachingselfgovernment.com. I have a course there, a Teaching Self-Government Parenting course. I highly recommend looking into that. The third thing that a person wants to do is find the truth. So after you have done the upfront work of analyzing what you do, and then you've been completely honest, is this productive? Is this not productive? Now you have to find the truth and say it, okay? So in my situation, I had to say, I am so powerful. I chose to be happy. Say the truth out loud if you have to. And if you feel like you're not going to say the truth, then find a person. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a spouse, depending on where you're at in your life, someone that you can say the truth to. That you can say, I'm feeling this right now, but it's not true. The truth is, I can be okay. I can choose joy. I can choose to let this go. I don't have to let this get the better of me. Say the truth out loud. It's powerful. The next step is to drop the subject. So here's the thing. When you get a feeling, that feeling is like a little cue to do something. So are you going to think a thought? Probably. Are you going to express an emotion? Maybe. You don't have to. When you initially have the feeling and you get a thought, if it is not the type of thought you want to entertain, if it's not going to lead to productive emoting or productive actions, then you got to let that thing go. Don't keep thinking about it. Don't over process. Drop the subject. People who are emotionally healthy are people who recognize that to release an emotion more often than not means to not even express it. Some people think that you have to let every emotion out in order to release it. But I'll tell you what, that's not true. And if you let everyone out, every emotion, if it has to come out, then those emotions are controlling you. And you really aren't having any control over yourself. But if you drop the subject about those thoughts, those emotional thoughts, those things that you maybe have entertained in the past, but you know are not productive, then you're releasing them in a new way. A productive way. A way where you don't have to carry them. You don't have to think about them again. You can put a new thought in your mind and move forward. This brings me to step number 5, which is to take new purposeful action. So once you have dropped the subject, you have decided I am not thinking about that thing. Stop overthinking it. Stop processing it. Don't worry about it. Whatever that emotion happens to be inside, you let it go. The next thing you do is you put a good, purposeful action-based thought in your head. So if you need to move on, maybe you think, okay, I am going to go praise someone right now. I'm going to go find something good about someone else. Or in this moment, I'm going to tell myself that I've done something good. Maybe I'm going to praise myself for choosing to drop the subject and not finding myself in a state of bondage to this emotion again when I know that this particular emotion is not productive. I want to be really clear that emotions can be good and emotions can be bad. They're not all bad. I know I use the word bondage and even sometimes the word conquering emotions. When I use those words, I'm referring to those not productive emotions. Some emotions lead us to give people a hug, to cry on a shoulder when we need to. Those are good emotions. Those are things that need to happen from time to time. But we all know those emotions that after we express them, we feel guilt, we feel disconnect, we feel like we need to go say we're sorry. Those emotions aren't productive. We can talk about our feelings, we can talk about our frustrations in calm ways without emotionally abusing other people. When you're trying to understand your emotions and identify if they're productive or not productive and release them properly, I hope you will always remember that some emotions help us become closer together. Those are good. Other emotions tear us apart. Those are bad. So as we're trying to understand ourselves, let's remember that we always have a choice. When we choose how we're going to release our emotions and we choose to replace those thoughts with new things, one of my favorite thoughts to replace an emotion with is be calm. Go through your calmness process, Nicholeen. I have a calm process that I go through. It's a 6-step process. I would love to share it with you. I'll give it to you for free. There is a link below this video that will take you to the Calm Parenting Toolkit. You can have it completely for free just because you listened to this video. Click on the link now, and that Calm Parenting Toolkit will get you on the road to being able to express those productive emotions even better. And it's the perfect starting place for learning self-government for yourself and for your entire family. We'll see you there.